Right now on IUSTV News, a major announcement involving our organization. The changes coming to student media at IU.
Plus, Bloomington City Council signs off on next year's budget, the numbers inside, and why one area resident was not happy with the plan.
And the community comes out to help paint one of the city's newest murals. We have reaction from one of those volunteers. We start with news about where you get your news. Thanks for joining us. I'm Shelby Brown.
And I'm Daniel Marlow. You're watching IUSTV News. The media school is making big changes when it comes to student media. The media school announced that our organization, along with Indiana Daily Student and WIUX, will converge financial into one multi-platform organization.
This will allow each organization to maintain editorial and brand independence while generating revenue collectively. The student media brands will share business operations and staff while maintaining independence in other areas.
The merge does come at a cost though. As of now, the IDS will be reducing their weekly printed paper down to just special editions, a move the paper's leadership has been vocal against. Our organization is not facing any cuts, and our leadership has expressed assignment with the plan. In a statement, IUSTV Executive Director Jack Paley said, quote, "We are incredibly excited for the opportunities this convergence will bring to a student media as a whole. The sharing of media school resources and faculty should allow for growth within all three organizations that will ultimately create more opportunities for students," end quote.
IUSTV News Director Ashton Hackman also expressed excitement with the plan, saying, quote, "This plan for student media ensures that students are well equipped to be effective, honest, and diligent journalists for our local communities, no matter how people consume news content. We are excited to work alongside our peers in laying the groundwork for a strong collaborative partnership that protects student media," end quote. The plan is set to be implemented immediately, but may take several years to be fully put into effect. We will, of course, keep you updated.
City Council has approved the city's $151 million budget for next year. The city touts the budget as prioritizing Mayor Thompson's one-year goals. Another part of the budget brought some public criticism. That was a section dedicated for Monroe County Convention Center expansion. The budget was rejected during the meeting, but one resident had planned to say.
This is not relevant
Christopher Rios Seeloff,
if you have
100
a
East
statement
Miller
about
Drive,
the utilities and how this is
Bloomington,
relevant,
Indiana,
you'll need to state how it's
47401.
relevant now. You are out of order, Mr. Davis.
Avenue, Bloomington,
Davis,
South Glenwood
please
Avenue,
go with
West
the officer.
Bloomington, Indiana, 47401.
Council meets again on October 30th to vote on city employee salaries. The new fiscal year starts on January 1st.
Week one of early voting in Monroe County is in the books, and turnout is outshining early voting numbers from 4 years ago. Election supervisors say over 4,000 people casted ballots in the first 4 days. That's a 16% increase compared to 2020. More than 60% of voters voted early in 2020, most by mail-in vote. Early voting in Monroe County runs through noon the day before the election.
All right, let's get a check of the weather, and boy, was it chilly out there this morning, really all day long.
I know, I'm so excited for this fall weather. I feel like we've just been living in summer, and I feel like it's just finally time to turn to fall.
Yes, we asked for fall weather, and that is exactly what we got. Looking at the current temps for this week, we are seeing these low temperatures, but not too low. In Bloomington, we're starting at 58. We see areas of 58 in Nashville, Columbus, with highest being at Terre Haute and Spencer, at 59 in different areas around. Overnight, we do get to those low temperatures where you see at 9 p.m. we're starting off at 51 degrees, and we're dropping to 47 at 3 a.m. But in the morning, when you go to walk your dog, we are expecting colder temps with 44 degrees starting at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. 43 degrees, and 8 a.m. and 42 degrees. So get a jacket, keep cool, keep warm. Coming up, we do expect to see some sunny skies this weekend with cool temps, and again, that fall weather is finally here.
Thanks so much, Tyla. As we approach homecoming weekend, the city of Bloomington is calling for volunteers to help clean up before the big weekend. A community cleanup day will take place on Wednesday starting in the morning at 9 and running until 1. Cleanup will focus on the downtown area, making it more welcoming for visitors. All tools necessary for cleanup will be provided by the city staff. To find the event schedule, visit the Bloomington website.
Over 60 volunteers came together last weekend to bring vibrant color to the Bloomington downtown area through a large community mural project. Organized by local artists and supported by the city, this public art initiative aimed to beautify the space and foster a sense of community. The mural featured designs that reflect connection, nature, and sustainability, including images of porch gatherers, native plants, and cats, with everyone from children to experienced painters lending a hand.
Well, I love that the community gets to paint it. I think that's really cool that we were able to do that, and public art is super important. You know, this is going to brighten up the community, and so I'm really happy with this project.
The project is part of a partnership between the City of Bloomington and Duke Energy, funded by a $25,000 grant. This mural is the first in a series to transform the substation walls.
A section of the Bee Line Trail on the south end of town will be closed for several weeks. This is near the Kroger at Seminary Park. Crews working on the Hopewell neighborhood will be doing trail resurfacing. While that happens, trail users are asked to use Morton Street between 1st and 2nd Streets. The city says the detour is expected to last several weeks.
A former IU professor will spend the next 2 years on house arrest for pleading guilty to possessing child pornography. Richard Wilk was a former anthropology professor at the university. He was handed a 3-year sentence with 1 year suspended. Wilk admitted to uploading the pornographic images of a child under 12 to an online account. Police used his IP address and account information to tie him to the case.
President Joe Biden is once again touring hurricane damage in Florida. It comes just days after Hurricane Milton made landfall near Tampa.
Biden was in the Big Bend region just weeks after Hurricane Helene. Brian Abel has the latest.
President Joe Biden making yet another trip to hurricane-damaged communities in Florida.
I'm here in Florida for the second time in 2 weeks, and to survey the damage from another catastrophic storm, Hurricane Milton.
Biden visited hard-hit St. Petersburg on Sunday and met with residents and first responders. It comes just 10 days after the president was in Florida's Big Bend region surveying the damage caused by Hurricane Helene. He encouraged those affected by the storms and saying it's time to put politics aside.
In moments like this, we come together to take care of each other, not as Democrats or Republicans, but as Americans.
Biden has frequently been in touch with Republican leaders, including the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis. The visit comes as the president and other leaders urge Congress to pass additional funding for disaster relief programs.
We need Congress to act swiftly to fund FEMA and specifically its disaster relief fund because hurricane season is not over.
Biden also announced a major funding to help those impacted by the storms.
Today, I'm proud to announce $612 million to 6 new cutting-edge projects to support communities impacted by Hurricane Helene and Milton.
That funding will be used to help enhance and upgrade the nation's power grid. Nearly 1 million people across Florida still remain without power. Brian Abel reporting.
Meteorologists are warning to be careful of online weather reports from untrusted sources. Many social media pages have viral videos showing a potential third hurricane in the coming days, but forecasters say it is highly unlikely.
The U.S. is sending an advanced anti-missile system to Israel with U.S. troops to operate it. The Pentagon says the Terminal High Altitude Air Defense, or THAAD, battery will help bolster Israel's air defenses following attacks by Iran. About 100 U.S. troops are being deployed to operate the system. It is rare for the U.S. to deploy troops inside Israel, but it is notable amid the heightened tensions in the region. The THAAD battery was previously deployed in Israel in 2019 for an exercise. A mass shooting during homecoming weekend.
Still ahead, the investigation underway near Tennessee State University after gunfire is heard after the homecoming parade. The latest on what police know. Plus, if you're not ready for the cold months to come, consider taking a trip to the beach. Airfares to some of these places are currently going for a lot cheaper than normal.
But first, how far did the Starship rocket make it on their 5th test flight, and what does that mean for SpaceX? We're back in a few.
SpaceX's Starship rocket, dubbed the most powerful rocket ever built, completed its 5th test flight in dramatic fashion. The Super Heavy rocket boosted along with the spacecraft launched earlier Sunday from Boca Chica, Texas. It's taller than a 20-story building. Starship flew through space after detaching from the boosters, which later fell to Earth less than 10 minutes later. The craft itself flew halfway around the world before splashing down in the Indian Ocean. No one was on board, but the flight is a key milestone towards the company's aim to make a Starship fully reusable rocket system. Tonight, you have an opportunity to see a rare extraterrestrial sight that won't be spotted near Earth for another 80,000 years. Known as Comet A3, it's the brightest comet visible on Earth since the Neowise comet from 2020. It will be visible for the next 2 weeks, but tonight and tomorrow night are going to be the brightest you can ever see it. The best time to view it will be around 45 minutes after the sunset, so 7:52 here in Bloomington. So when it comes time, look up and face west. Its brilliant light trails should be impossible to miss.
If you're not looking forward to the cooler months and wanted one more trip to the beach, then you're in luck. Airfares to some of the world's most gorgeous beaches are now a lot cheaper. The location that came out on top was the Mediterranean resort, City of Nice. Fares to the cities fell by 27% in the first half of the year compared to last year. If you want to travel a little closer to the U.S., then head to the Castries, St. Lucia, and British Town, Barbados. Fares to those locations dropped by nearly 25%.
A man was killed and 9 other people were injured in a shooting near Tennessee State University as students celebrated homecoming. Investigators believed at least 1 injured person was involved in the gunfire. Steve Melling reports from Nashville.
A homecoming celebration that's now clouded by a mass shooting. Metro Police say around 5:30 Saturday afternoon, people ran for their lives as gunfire erupted on Jefferson Street.
It's unfortunate that a few folks pretty much ruined it for everybody.
Witnesses say they heard upwards of 30 shots. Metro Police believe those shots came from 2 groups of people, and bystanders were caught in the crossfire. Among the 10 people shot, a 24-year-old man was killed. 3 teenagers were shot as well.
This type of gun violence has just got to stop. We would have never expected that this would have happened here with all of the law enforcement, all of the public safety people here, the fire department. We would have never have expected this to have taken place.
Police say they're reviewing surveillance footage to piece together what happened. They believe one of the shooters is among the people injured in the hospital. Metro Police Commander Anthony McLean, who's a TSU graduate, was here with his family celebrating like so many others.
This is not a direct reflection on the university itself. We think this is something that was kind of a sidebar to the celebration. We have to come to the point where we stop this violence.
We're told Nashville firefighters used their own belts to apply tourniquets to victims who they were side by side with when it all unfolded.
They were right there alongside the persons who were hit. It could have been one of them.
Police continue to search for more answers in a shooting that's left a community shaken.
At least 3 of the injured were children who had non-critical injuries. The other victims range in age from a 23-year-old man to a 55-year-old woman who is in critical condition. No word of arrest or named subjects.
A hot air balloon briefly caught on fire near Albuquerque, New Mexico Saturday. The balloon was flying in the mass ascension when it had appeared to have had a hard landing. There's no word if there were any injuries. This is the final weekend of the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta.
If you're a fan of Crocs, you can soon pick up a pair for your dog. The footwear company is introducing pet Crocs later this month. It's part of the annual Croctober campaign, which includes the release of a fan-inspired product. Starting October 23rd, pet Crocs will be available for a limited time in 2 colors, green slime and pink dragon fruit. Matching classic line clogs for humans will be available the same day. Next on IUSTV News, how the U.S. is keeping overdose numbers on decline. We have the numbers in today's Health Minute.
Plus, can we expect this much cold air to stick around for the rest of the week? Kyla has a check of the forecast on the other side of the break.
While overdose deaths in the U.S. are the lowest they have been for 3 years, a key factor driving the decline is an overdose reversing medication.
In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither takes a deep dive into the research behind this decline.
It's being called unprecedented progress in the fight against the drug epidemic. Overdose deaths involving fentanyl and other synthetic opioids are down 20% year over year.
A lot of the work that we're already doing when it comes to public awareness and access to reversal agents is working.
Dr. Ashish Panchal with Ohio State's Wexner Medical Center is senior author of a new study looking into how many lay people have administered overdose reversing medication.
Naloxone is a life-saving medication that can reverse the effects of an opioid overdose in seconds if given immediately.
Panchal says during a 2-year period between 2020 and 2022, the rate of everyday people administering naloxone to someone experiencing an opioid overdose before EMS arrival increased by more than 43%.
A lay person having this in their hands can actually save someone from an opioid overdose. So trying to get this into the hands of people who can use it to save a life is critically important.
The U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved the first over-the-counter opioid antidote last year against a backdrop of record-high opioid deaths. The approval allowed the medicine to be sold without any sort of prescription in retail stores and online.
Of all the people who had assistance from 911, only 3.4% received layperson naloxone. So the word is out, the access is available, but we have a lot more work to do.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Turn to weather now. If you are a fan of the fall weather, this is the kind of day you're waiting for. The only downside are the cloudy and gloomy skies.
And Kyla Williams is in with the forecast. Kyla, I just cannot wait for this fall weather. It has been so hot lately, and I'm just so ready to just whip out my sweater.
Listen, like I said before, fall weather is what we asked for, and it is exactly what we got. Going into this week, on Tuesday, we're expected to start off at 36 degrees at 8 a.m. We're expected to go up to these mid to high 50s, 59, with 59 being the highest at 4 p.m. and 53 at noon. Looking at the high temps for Indiana in general, in Bloomington we see 55. We see these mid-50s all around. 55 in Bloomington, 57 in Washington, 57 in Terre Haute, and 53 in areas like Rushville and Brookfield. Looking at the 7-day forecast, again, we are expected to stay and maintain these high 50s, mid-50s to high 60s, and even 70s. So we start off Tuesday, 55 degrees with few clouds, a little chilly. Wednesday, 59. Thursday and Fridays, we get to those 60s with 69 on Friday. But we are expected to warm back up on Saturday and Sunday at 72 degrees and 76 degrees, which should be good for the weekend. We can enjoy our weekend, have fun, get outside, do something, because it's the perfect weather to enjoy it without being too hot and not being too cold.
That looks like the perfect weather for homecoming this weekend, which I'm super excited about. And Kyla, thank you so much. And thank you for watching IUSTV News.
For updates between newscasts, check out IUSTV.com, and we look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow night. Take care.